If you're over 50 and you've noticed your ankles swelling by the end of the day, or your feet feel cold even when you're wearing socks, or you get that uncomfortable heaviness in your legs after sitting for just an hour, then what I'm about to share with you could change everything. Because the truth is, poor leg circulation isn't just about discomfort. It's a warning sign that your body's transportation system is struggling, and if left unchecked, it can lead to blood clots, chronic swelling, skin ulcers, and a dramatic loss of independence. But here's the good news. You don't need medication, you don't need expensive equipment, and you don't need to walk for miles every single day, because today, I'm going to show you 5 specific exercises that directly activate the muscles responsible for pumping blood back up from your legs to your heart, and these movements are recommended by physical therapists and vascular specialists because they work with your body's natural circulation system, not against it. I'm Dr. Laura, and here at Senior Wellness, we focus on science-backed strategies that help you stay strong, mobile, and independent well into your later years. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to perform each of these 5 exercises safely at home, why they're so effective, and how often to do them for maximum benefit. Now, before we dive into the exercises, let me tell you about Margaret, a 67-year-old retired teacher who came to one of our workshops last year complaining about constant leg fatigue and swelling that made it painful to stand for more than 10 minutes. She had been told by her doctor to just walk more. And while walking is great, it wasn't solving her circulation problem because walking alone doesn't fully activate the deep calf muscles that act as your body's second heart. And within 3 weeks of adding these 5 exercises to her daily routine, Margaret noticed her swelling had decreased by more than half. Her legs felt lighter, and she was able to stand and cook dinner without needing to sit down every few minutes. And that's the power of targeting circulation at the source. So let's talk about why circulation becomes such a problem as we age, because understanding this will help you see why these exercises are so important. Your heart pumps oxygen-rich blood down to your legs through your arteries, and that part usually works pretty well. But getting that blood back up to your heart against gravity, that's where the challenge begins, especially after age 50, because your veins rely on something called the muscle pump mechanism, which means the muscles in your calves and legs squeeze your veins and push blood upward with the help of one-way valves that prevent backflow. But as we get older, those valves can weaken, your muscles lose tone, and you spend more time sitting, all of which causes blood to pool in your lower legs, leading to swelling, discoloration, varicose veins, and that heavy, achy feeling. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. Your calf muscles are often called your second heart because they play such a critical role in returning blood from your legs back to your heart. And if those muscles aren't being activated properly and consistently, your circulation suffers no matter how much you walk, because walking uses your calves. Yes, but it doesn't fully contract them the way these targeted exercises do. And that's why so many seniors are told to walk more but still struggle with poor circulation. It's not that walking is bad, it's that it's incomplete. Let me share another quick story, this time about Robert, a 72-year-old man who loved gardening but had to give it up because his legs would swell so badly that he couldn't bend down or kneel without pain. He tried compression socks, he elevated his legs every evening, and he even cut back on salt. But nothing gave him lasting relief until he started doing these 5 exercises every morning and evening, and within a month, he was back in his garden, kneeling, planting, and moving without the constant worry of swelling and discomfort. And he told me it felt like he had gotten a part of his life back. And that's what we want for you too. All right, let's get into the 5 exercises, and I'm going to walk you through each one step by step so you can start today. And remember, you don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment, just a chair, a wall, and a few minutes of your time. Exercise number 1 is called ankle pumps. And this is the simplest yet one of the most effective movements for activating circulation in your lower legs. Here's how you do it. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor and your back supported. Now slowly point your toes down toward the ground as far as you comfortably can. Hold that position for 2 seconds, then pull your toes back up toward your shins as far as you can, and hold that for 2 seconds. And that's 1 repetition. I want you to do 20 to 30 repetitions. And you should feel a gentle stretch and contraction in your calves and the front of your shins. Now, why does this work? Because every time you point and flex your foot, you're contracting and relaxing the muscles in your lower leg, and that squeezing action pushes blood up through your veins. It's like giving your circulation system a gentle pump. And this exercise is especially great if you've been sitting for a long time, like on a plane, in a car, or at your desk, because it gets things moving again without requiring you to stand up. You can do ankle pumps multiple times throughout the day. In fact, I recommend doing a set every hour if you're sitting for extended periods. And if you want to make it more challenging, you can add a resistance band around the ball of your foot and pull back as you flex, but that's optional. The basic movement alone is incredibly effective. And if you're someone who deals with nighttime leg cramps or restless legs, doing ankle pumps before bed can help reduce those symptoms because you're encouraging blood flow and reducing muscle tension. Exercise number 2 is seated leg lifts. And this one builds on what we just did by adding a strengthening component that targets your quadriceps and hip flexors while continuing to support circulation. Here's how to do it. Sit in the same sturdy chair with your back supported and your feet flat on the floor. Now straighten one leg out in front of you, lifting your foot off the ground until your leg is parallel to the floor or as high as you can comfortably go. Hold that position for 3 to 5 seconds, then slowly lower your foot back down, and that's 1 repetition. Do 10 to 15 repetitions on one leg, then switch to the other leg and repeat. This exercise works because when you lift your leg and hold it, you're contracting your thigh muscles, and that contraction helps push blood up from your lower leg. Plus, you're strengthening the muscles that support your knees and hips, which is critical for balance and mobility as you age. And if you want to increase the intensity, you can point and flex your foot while your leg is lifted, combining the benefits of both exercises. I had a client named Diane who was 69 and dealing with chronic knee pain and poor circulation, and she was nervous about doing any leg exercises because she thought it would make her knees worse. But I showed her how to do seated leg lifts with controlled, slow movements, and within 2 weeks, she noticed her knees felt more stable, her legs felt lighter, and the swelling in her ankles had decreased significantly. And she said it was the first time in years that she felt like she had control over her own body again. Now, exercise number 3 is the calf pump walk with support. And this is where we start to get you moving a bit more while still keeping things safe and controlled. Here's how to do it. Stand next to a wall, a countertop, or the back of a sturdy chair, something you can hold on to for balance. Place one hand on your support. Stand tall with your feet hip-width apart. And now I want you to walk in place, but with a very specific motion. Lift one heel off the ground, coming up onto the ball of your foot, then lower it back down and immediately lift the other heel, and keep alternating back and forth in a smooth, controlled rhythm, almost like you're marching in place but focusing on pushing through the balls of your feet. Do this for 30 to 60 seconds, rest, and then repeat for another set. This exercise is powerful because it mimics the natural pumping action your calves perform when you walk. But by doing it in place with support, you can focus entirely on the contraction and control without worrying about balance or tripping. And this is especially helpful if you have balance issues or if you're recovering from an injury, because you get all the circulation benefits without the risk. And if you feel confident, you can try doing this without holding on, but always prioritize safety. Let me tell you about George, a 74-year-old veteran who had limited mobility due to arthritis in his hips, and he couldn't walk long distances without pain. But when I introduced him to the calf pump walk with support, he was able to do it for just 1 minute twice a day, and over the course of a month, his circulation improved so much that the chronic coldness in his feet went away, and his physical therapist was amazed at how much his ankle mobility had improved. And George told me that this simple exercise made him feel like he was taking charge of his health again, and that sense of empowerment is just as important as the physical benefits. All right, now we're moving to exercise number 4, which is the single leg balance hold. And this one is fantastic because it combines circulation, strength, and balance all in one movement. Here's how to do it. Stand next to your wall or chair for support. Hold on lightly with one hand, shift your weight onto one leg, and slowly lift your other foot just a few inches off the ground. Now here's the key. While you're balancing on one leg, I want you to gently and slowly rise up onto the ball of your foot. Hold that position for 3 to 5 seconds, then lower your heel back down, and you can either keep your other foot lifted and repeat, or you can tap your foot down between repetitions. Do 8 to 10 repetitions on one leg, then switch and repeat on the other side. This exercise is incredible because not only are you activating your calf muscles to pump blood, but you're also challenging your balance and stability, which are critical for preventing falls and maintaining independence. And every time you rise up onto the ball of your foot, you're squeezing your calf muscle and pushing blood upward. Plus, you're strengthening the small stabilizing muscles in your ankles and feet that often get neglected. I worked with a woman named Linda who was 71, and she had been afraid of falling ever since she tripped over a rug and bruised her hip. And that fear had made her more sedentary, which only made her circulation and balance worse. But when we started with the single leg balance hold using a chair for support, she slowly built her confidence, and within 6 weeks, she was able to do the exercise without holding on. And she told me that she no longer felt like her body was fragile. She felt strong and capable, and that mental shift was just as powerful as the physical improvements. Now, if you're enjoying this and finding it helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our senior wellness videos. Because we're here every week with practical, science-backed advice to help you live your strongest, healthiest, most independent life. And also, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me how old you are and where you're watching from, because it's so encouraging for me and for everyone in this community to see people from all over the world taking charge of their health. All right, let's move to exercise number 5, which is the standing calf pump hold. And this is the grand finale, the one that ties everything together. Here's how to do it. Stand facing a wall or countertop. Place both hands on the surface for support. Stand with your feet hip-width apart. Now slowly rise up onto the balls of both feet, lifting your heels as high as you comfortably can. And here's the important part. Hold that top position for 5 to 10 seconds, really squeezing your calf muscles. Then slowly lower your heels back down to the ground with control. And that's 1 repetition. I want you to do 10 to 15 repetitions. And if you feel strong and stable, you can try doing this without holding on, but always prioritize safety and control over speed. This exercise is the most direct and powerful way to activate your calf muscles, because you're not just moving through the motion, you're holding the contraction, and that sustained squeeze is what maximizes the pumping action on your veins. And this is the movement that physical therapists and vascular specialists recommend most often for people with circulation issues, because it's simple, it's safe, and it works. I'll never forget a client named Paul, who was 76 and had developed venous insufficiency, which meant the valves in his leg veins weren't working properly, and his doctor had recommended surgery. But Paul wanted to try everything else first, so he committed to doing these 5 exercises twice a day, every single day, and after 3 months, he went back for a follow-up ultrasound, and his doctor was shocked to see that his circulation had improved so much that surgery was no longer necessary. And Paul told me that he had never felt more in control of his own health, and he continues to do these exercises every day because he knows they're keeping him strong and mobile. Now, let's talk about how to put all of this together into a routine. Because consistency is what's going to give you results, I recommend doing all 5 exercises in sequence, once in the morning and once in the evening, and the entire routine should take you no more than 10 to 15 minutes. You can do it while watching TV, listening to music, or even talking on the phone. And the beauty of these exercises is that they're low impact, they don't require any equipment, and they're safe for almost everyone. But as always, if you have any underlying health conditions, if you've had recent surgery, or if you're unsure whether these exercises are right for you, please check with your doctor or physical therapist first. Here's what a typical routine might look like. Start with 20 to 30 ankle pumps while seated, then move into 10 to 15 seated leg lifts on each leg. Stand up and do 30 to 60 seconds of the calf pump walk with support. Then move into 8 to 10 single leg balance holds on each side, and finish with 10 to 15 standing calf pump holds. And just like that, you've given your circulation system a complete workout, and if you do this consistently, you're going to notice changes. Your legs will feel lighter, swelling will decrease, you'll have more energy, and you'll feel more confident in your body's ability to support you. Now, I also want to address a question I get all the time, which is, Dr. Laura, how long before I see results? And the honest answer is that it depends on your starting point. But most people notice some improvement within the first 2 to 3 weeks. Things like reduced swelling, less heaviness, and fewer cramps. And if you stick with it for 2 to 3 months, you'll see more significant changes in your overall circulation, strength, and mobility. And the key is consistency. Doing these exercises once or twice and then stopping won't give you lasting results, but making them a part of your daily routine, just like brushing your teeth, that's what creates real change. Let me also say this, because it's important, these exercises are not a replacement for medical treatment if you have a serious circulation condition like deep vein thrombosis, peripheral artery disease, or severe venous insufficiency. But they are an excellent complement to medical care, and many doctors and physical therapists actively encourage their patients to do these types of movements because they support the body's natural healing and maintenance processes. And if you're dealing with any of those conditions, please work closely with your healthcare team and let them know you're doing these exercises so they can monitor your progress. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one more story because I think it really captures the spirit of what we're trying to do here at Senior Wellness. I met a couple, Jean and Tom, both in their early 70s, and they had always been active, hiking, traveling, spending time with their grandkids. But over the past few years, they had both noticed their energy declining, their legs getting tired more easily, and they were starting to turn down invitations because they just didn't feel up to it. And that was heartbreaking for them, but they didn't want to accept that this was just part of getting old. So they came to one of our workshops, and I taught them these exact 5 exercises, and they committed to doing them together every morning. And 6 months later, they sent me a photo of themselves at the Grand Canyon, something they thought they'd never be able to do again. And they said that these simple exercises had given them their lives back. And that's what this is all about. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about taking small, manageable steps every single day that add up to big changes over time. So, here's what I want you to do. Right after you finish watching this video, I want you to try at least 1 or 2 of these exercises. Start with the ankle pumps and the seated leg lifts, because those are the easiest and you can do them right where you're sitting. And then tomorrow, add in 1 or 2 more, and keep building from there. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It helps more people find this content. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next video. And drop a comment below and let me know how old you are and where you're watching from, because I love hearing from you, and I read every single comment. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for investing in your health, and thank you for being part of the senior wellness community. Remember, you have more control over your health and your future than you might think. And these 5 simple exercises are proof of that. So let's get moving, let's get that blood flowing, and let's keep you strong, mobile, and independent for years to come. I'm Dr. Laura, and I'll see you in the next video.